From President Donald Trump's first few years in office to Congress to whether or not he will run for political office in the future, once again, I speak exclusively with entrepreneur, businessman, and former South Carolina Lieutenant Governor André Bauer for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And listen to this interview later on iHeartRadio. André Bauer, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you, Quintin.
Oh, I appreciate this greatly.
I'm glad to catch up with you. It's been a while.
Been a while. So much going on with you. You got married. You turned the big 5-0. And a lot of people are basically saying, hey, we've lost the voice as far as conservatism on the media. What is it like to be you these days?
I've kind of taken a little slower, enjoying life, getting to spend more time in my home city and not travel quite as much.
Oh, wow.
It's fun. It's fun. We got so much going on here in our great city, and just kind of taking it all in for a change in my life where I was traveling so much before.
Right. When you look at what's going on in Columbia, particularly at the South Carolina State House, where is your mind?
Not in Columbia. Not really paying attention to it. I see that they're working on teacher pay raises, which is great. My stepmother was a teacher for years. And so we continue to address things like education. We've got some great folks here from Charleston that represent us, some of them that I'm very fond of. And so I'm glad they're up there, but I went up there to see the governor get inaugurated. That's the first time I've been back in years.
I missed you. I was up there too.
Yeah.
I took the Greyhound and Ubered into town and got there right around 12 o'clock. I love that. Yeah, great area. Right now on television, we're seeing a lot about Russia and the Mueller probe, and obviously you have Michael Cohen, who was a former President Trump lawyer on television, testifying about what he knew and what he didn't know about what was going on with President Trump prior to him being inaugurated and obviously elected president. Where is your mind with this particular situation?
Quintin, there's so much news out there, and it, depending on who's trying to get you to think what way, it gets very confusing. I think for the average person watching, they scratch their head in disbelief. I mean, for Congress to bring back someone that's getting ready to serve jail time, that because they lied to Congress doesn't make them much of a witness. If you lied to Congress, why does Congress bring you back to ask you questions and you're getting ready to go to jail? It just didn't seem like a good situation. And to continue to see so many in Congress try to go after the president on this Russia situation, we've seen no proof. We've had over 2 years of investigations. We now know that, in fact, the president was right when he said he'd been wiretapped, that they did surveil the building with a FISA warrant that was really gotten in a third try, turned down twice by the FISA court. The third time it was done based on news articles that were fake news articles written, and the FISA judge issued the warrant. So it's just not a healthy thing. So from either side, it's not healthy. And this, in my entire 49, getting ready to be 50 years on this earth, I've never seen such divisiveness in politics. When I served in Columbia, some of the best folks I worked with were Democrats, and I never saw this type of behavior. We may have a shuffle here and there, but we always found a way to find common ground. In Washington, I see no common ground anymore, and the two parties are going so far apart, especially the factions within the party, that it's hard for me as an American to believe some of the things that are currently going on in Washington.
What should be the common ground right now?
Well, I don't see why there should be any reason why anybody should be opposed to legal immigration. But illegal immigration, I would think all citizens would be for that. I have a buddy of mine that does a lot of work for us. He's from Colombia. He's an American citizen now, but he tells me he did it the right way. And it bothers him to see these people do it the wrong way, and it takes away his hard work. And what he did and the value he found in going through the system the right way, spending the time and energy to assimilate, to become a proud citizen, to see so many people do it the wrong way is disheartening. And the fact that has now become a hostile thing to talk about is amazing to me. I can't imagine why someone would want people to come into our country illegally, instead not have them go through the right channels to do it the right way. I mean, when my great-grandparents came over, my grandfather was a first-generation American. They came over here from Germany. They assimilated, and then my grandfather fought as an American soldier against the Germans. But they believed in this country, and they assimilated. They wanted to be a part of it. And so the fact that has become such a hostile issue, and some of the very people that were for it just a few years ago and now against it, it's concerning to me, but I see a more hostile environment every day in Washington.
What else concerns you right now about Washington?
$22 trillion in debt is unbelievable to me. The fact that we continue to borrow, that we continue to prop up other nations when we can't pay our own bills is deplorable to me. But I look back at some shows we did a while back, and the last time we talked about it, my statement was, I can't believe we're $16 trillion in debt. Well, fast forward now, we're $6 trillion more than we were before, with nobody pumping the brakes. The fact that the Republicans and Democrats are budgeting by just continuing to push it forward and not to really address funding the government, to continue to push it forward and not address it's disheartening to me. They're not doing their job. They're sent there to do. We need term limits, but it is now almost a career for anybody that runs for public office in Washington. They stay up there. They never leave. And in addition to that, the corporations and the big donors are controlling the agenda. And so I really hate to see where our country's going, because it seems like the average, what I call Johnny Lunch Bucket, has less and less input than they ever have had in this country.
Who should be controlling the agenda?
The people should be. But of course, that's, again, that's a difficult thing. But the people that we send up there to represent us in this republic that we have need to be open to changes, open to new ideas, open to trying different things to try to make our government run better. They don't need to be beholden to whoever can fund their campaign.
And obviously, as you know, Joe Cunningham is representing the 1st Congressional District of South Carolina after really defeating Katie Arrington in the general election in November. When you look at Joe Cunningham as congressman right now, what do you see?
Well, I don't know that I can fairly judge Mr. Cunningham. He seemed like a moderate. I appreciate the fact that he stuck to not voting for Pelosi as Speaker. He ran on that and stuck to that. It did bother me a little bit that he gave credentials that, in fact, he hadn't earned. Now, I haven't heard his direct personal response, but to say that you're a specialist in certain things and then not be, I think that is concerning. I'd have to know more, but from what I read in the paper, and I don't believe everything I read in the paper, but I do think that it's concerning that someone can say, I have these credentials, and that they would lie about it, and then that not be the truth.
You talk about the truth, you talk about the paper, obviously, let's talk about the media. What is the state of news media right now in your mind?
Well, I think everyone in Charleston knows they can turn to Quintin's close-ups and get a real, truthful answer. And all in tongue-in-cheek. I just left 3 years with CNN. I'm looking at some new things right now. I had a month where I couldn't go out and do any media. It seems more and more when you turn on the stations, these folks have an agenda. When I was a kid, you at least thought that you turned on the media to get information. You disseminated and you decided what the facts were. They laid it out and then you made your own opinion. Now, it seems so much of it, the vast majority of it, whether you believe in the right, the left, somewhere in the middle, it seems like they continue to push the narrative they want you to believe. They don't want you to think for yourself. They really want you to check your brains in and just believe whatever they tell you, and on both sides. And I've gotten to where I'm watching more channels that are business-oriented, like Bloomberg News or Fox Business, that give me more about what they think the economy is doing, how they think the changes in the market are being affected, what they think the housing market is going to do in the future, and it's less slanted. It's still got a slant on it, but not nearly as much as some of the other big stations when you talk about where they're going, even by the fact of who they have on there to give you that information out. It is so slanted.
Obviously, there's a lot of talk about President Trump on both sides. What do you want Americans to know about him?
Well, I supported President Trump on February 16th, supported him early on. Right. Not because I believed in everything about him. A thinking person isn't going to agree with everybody all the time. I don't agree with you on everything. I'm sure you don't agree with me. But you try to find something that represents the things you're most interested in. And with President Trump, I saw someone who wasn't interested in making a career out of politics, who was a business person, was going to bring a different approach to how we solve problems. Has he done everything I'd like to have seen done? Well, of course not. Has he done more than I think most presidents have? Absolutely. When you look at some of the issues that have been addressed, they were issues that no other person I can think of in our country would have been willing to take on because there were too much there was too much political capital to have to give up to take that battle on. For example, the trade deficit with China. Almost nobody would fight that fight because you have to lose so long before you can win. Now we finally see it coming back full circle, and he's winning. North Korea. Everybody said that is a battle he cannot make happen. Now he's met with Kim Jong, not once, but twice. And we see a possible denuclearization. I mean, at least we have hopes of that. And we didn't have any of that before. We had a heightened situation where they said, President Trump's getting ready to put us in another world war. And in fact, he has at least brought the situation down there on talking terms now. South Korea and North Korea at least trying to work together. And so it's really quite amazing some of the battles he's taken on. Our economy is on fire. When you look at African-American unemployment, when you look at Latino unemployment, when you look at unemployment as a whole, some of the best numbers there have ever been in the history of our country. And we see that now right here in Charleston. The housing market's on fire. Trying to find people to employ anymore is very difficult. It is a great time to be an American. And a lot of this Donald Trump should get the credit for. Are there things that I think I wish he did differently? Of course there are. But as a whole, he has made an amazing change to where not only our country's going, but, for example, the UN. We've continued to support the UN as a disproportionate country, much to our disadvantage. He has finally leaned on them so much that they have tens of billions of dollars in new revenue coming in just by telling our friends and neighbors that are in the UN, hey, you've got to pay your fair share. And other presidents just let it go. This president is not doing that, and I appreciate that.
Obviously, you're turning 50 soon. You have your kids here, you're married, you live in downtown Charleston, the heart of the 1st Congressional District. If you were to look at 2020, how would you look at it?
I'm not looking at I'm real happy, Quintin. I get to ride my bicycle more, and I've got 7 projects within a few blocks going on here, and I'm working on those things all the time. I'm doing a lot of the work myself now. My grandfather on my mother's side was a cabinet maker right here in downtown Charleston. I was born just a few blocks down the street at Roper Hospital. Yes. And I'm getting to work on some of these very houses I rode by as a child. And so I'm having fun. And I don't want to say I've never run for politics again because I have met some incredible people, got to be involved in some really unique debates that shaped where our state is currently. And I got really a different chapter in life that I never thought I'd get. Mm-hmm. Would I revisit it? Well, sure, I probably would. But right now, things are great, and I've got a full plate. So I don't want to ever write it off. But I think there's a lot of great folks in this 1st Congressional District that could be our congressman. And so I'm going to leave that to some other folks that want to call all their friends and beg for money. I've done that, and I don't know that I'm in the mood right now.
Well, entrepreneur, businessman, and former South Carolina Lieutenant Governor André Bauer, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. The people of Charleston really owe you a debt of gratitude. It is fun to watch these shows. You do something different. And it's really a fresh approach to getting to see so many Charlestonians and questions that normally don't get asked. So I don't know why you asked me. There's a lot of people I'd rather watch. Thank you as always, my friend.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime, and I'll get to them. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.